Okay, let's talk about something I think, well, everyone experiences. How often do you find yourself completely poured out?
Hmm.
Giving your absolute all work, family, community stuff, chasing those goals, trying to serve people, and then just feeling uh, utterly depleted.
Yeah, completely drained. We've all felt that, haven't we? Wondering, is there a better way to actually make a difference, but without, burning ourselves out completely?
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into a concept that gets talked about a lot, sometimes misunderstood, but it's really vital. Self-love.
And our guide for this is Reuben Juma Onunga's really insightful book, Self-Love, The Foundation for Greater Impact.
Now, when you hear self-love, your mind might jump to, I don't know, something a bit superficial, fleeting indulgence, maybe that whole social media trend.
Right, the sort of selfie culture idea.
Yeah.
But Onunga's take is much, much deeper than that, more foundational.
He makes this incredibly compelling case, almost revolutionary, really, that true self-love isn't just some nice-to-have feel-good idea.
No, he argues it's the absolute prerequisite, the starting point for genuinely serving others in a way that lasts, for making a real impact.
His core message just rings so true. You cannot give what you do not have.
Hmm. Like a lamp, right?
Oh.
No lamp gives light without oil within. Simple, but profound.
So our mission today is to unpack this deeper understanding of self-love. It's got spiritual dimensions, discipline involved.
We'll look at how it works in practice and really explore how it empowers you to be more whole, more confident, and ultimately more impactful in every part of your life.
And just to be clear, this isn't really about pampering. It's about building that solid foundational strengths from the inside out.
Okay, so let's start right there. What is this true self-love beyond the buzzword?
Well, again, Onunga makes a really sharp distinction between those fleeting pleasures, the quick fixes, and genuine self-love.
Right.
He describes the real deal as, and I like this phrase, a lifelong posture of the heart. It's a conscious choice, an ongoing decision.
A decision to treat yourself with the same kind of respect and patience and compassion you'd naturally give to a close friend.
That distinction feels pretty profound, doesn't it? What's the shift there?
Well, what's really key is that phrase, conscious decision. It shifts it from being about feeling good momentarily to being about a deliberate internal stance.
Okay.
It's saying, I acknowledge my inherent worth. It's not something you earn, it's just there. And it means honoring your needs without feeling guilty about it.
Right, that guilt piece is huge for a lot of people.
It is. And it's about giving yourself permission to grow, to learn, even to mess up sometimes, without constantly comparing yourself to others, which is just draining.
Yeah.
So it directly pushes back against that idea that thinking about yourself is automatically prideful or selfish. It's reframing it as, well, a necessary practice for a healthy inner life.
Think about that for a second. How often do we give so much grace, so much understanding to other people?
All the time.
But then we hold ourselves to these impossible standards. It's about changing that internal script, isn't it?
Exactly. Moving away from that harsh inner critic towards maybe compassionate self-acknowledgement.
And that central metaphor Onunga uses, the empty vessel, it really drives it home.
It does. If you're constantly pouring out, giving everything away without refilling your own oil, eventually you just run dry.
Yeah.
You're empty.
And serving from that empty place, well, it doesn't feel good.
No. It becomes bitter. It feels forced. And ultimately, you just can't keep it up. It's unsustainable. It just hammers home that point. You genuinely cannot give what you don't have inside.
Such a vital starting point. And, Onunga doesn't paint this as easy. He digs into the tough stuff, dedicating a whole chapter to healing from past wounds.
Right. Which can sound daunting.
It really can. Why is facing that past stuff so critical for cultivating real self-love? And how do these maybe less obvious wounds show up in our lives, according to him?
That's a great question.
Right.
Because they often operate beneath the surface. Onunga sees these unhealed wounds as like invisible anchors.
Okay.
They silently shape how we see ourselves, how we relate to others, even our ability to, well, receive love or kindness.
So it's not just obvious insecurity.
Not always.
Yeah.
It can be subtle self-sabotage, maybe constantly needing external validation or finding it hard to trust your own judgment. The book argues that healing starts with just acknowledging it, having the courage to look, not to get stuck there, but to understand the impact.
And then
a huge part is forgiveness. He really emphasizes this. Forgiving others, yes, but also forgiving yourself.
that's often the harder part.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He calls forgiveness the cornerstone of healing because holding on to bitterness keeps you chained to whatever happened. Forgiving, whether it's someone else or yourself, for past mistakes, that's what actually sets you free to move on. It's about release, not reliving it endlessly.
That makes so much sense. So once we start that brave work of healing, Onunga then shifts the focus to building inner confidence and identity.
Yeah, moving forward.
How does self-love connect to really knowing who am I beyond just, job titles or what we achieve?
Well, Onunga talks about confidence not as being loud or arrogant, but as this quiet, steady strength.
Okay.
And it's rooted in deep self-awareness. It means taking the time to actually reflect on your unique strengths, figure out your core values, what genuinely makes you tick, your passions.
Thing that we often don't make time for.
Exactly. And a huge part of it is learning to manage that inner critic. We all have it, that voice casting doubt.
Oh, yeah.
It's about actively countering it with truth. Statements like, I am capable, I am worthy, not out of arrogance, but just quiet internal self-assurance that doesn't desperately need outside approval because it's built from within.
So it's about finding your authentic self, less swayed by what everyone else expects.
Precisely. Anchored in who you genuinely are, not just who you think you should be.
Okay, now this next part might feel a bit upside down for some listeners. Self-discipline as self-love.
Right, because we usually think of discipline as unpleasant. Restriction.
Yeah, like punishment almost, something we have to do, not something we choose out of love. How does Onunga manage to reframe that so brilliantly?
He completely flips the script on it. He sees discipline not as being harsh or restrictive, but as the decision to guide yourself firmly but kindly toward what is best for your future.
Firmly but kindly. I like that.
It's about making a commitment to your future self. It emphasizes consistency over intensity or being overly punitive.
So like daily actions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He makes this powerful point that everyday acts of self-care, making sure you get enough rest, eating nourishing food, managing your money responsibly, even just, resisting an unhealthy impulse. These are all declarations that you value yourself,
Yeah.
that you're worth the effort.
Okay, so discipline isn't a chain.
Not at all. In this view, discipline is actually freedom. It liberates you from the negative outcomes of just letting things slide, and it empowers you to live more intentionally, more aligned with your well-being.
It makes you think, doesn't it? How could one small, consistent act of discipline, maybe just 15 minutes of quiet time or making sure you actually get enough sleep, become this powerful statement of self-respect?
It absolutely can. It's a daily affirmation.
Now, woven through the whole book is this other significant thread, the role of faith and spirituality in self-love. Onunga draws from both Christian and Islamic traditions, showing how faith can really elevate self-love, taking it beyond just focusing on the self. How does that spiritual dimension add depth?
What's really compelling is how he highlights the shared wisdom. From a spiritual viewpoint, self-love isn't just about you. It becomes an act of honoring the Creator, however you understand that.
Okay, like how?
Well, take the Christian teaching, love your neighbor as yourself. That as yourself part is crucial, isn't it? It implies a healthy self-love has to be there first.
Right, it assumes it.
Or the idea from the Bible of being fearfully and wonderfully made. Or from the Quran, the understanding that our body and soul are precious trusts entrusted to them by God. Seeing yourself through that lens changes things.
It adds another layer of value.
Exactly. It grounds your worth in something beyond your own efforts or failures. And importantly, faith traditions often offer profound paths for mercy and grace, especially for those really deep wounds where maybe human effort alone feels insufficient. It makes your worth feel more immutable.
It really invites you to consider, doesn't it? How does your own sense of purpose or your spirituality shape how you view your intrinsic value and your responsibility to care for yourself?
Definitely.
And beyond the spiritual, Onunga gets very practical too, with chapters on physical health as a gift to self and emotional and mental well-being.
Yes, the holistic view.
Why are these physical and mental pieces so absolutely fundamental to self-love? It's clearly more than just feeling good day to day.
Oh, absolutely. Onunga really emphasizes the body as our primary vessel for living.
Our vehicle almost?
Right. And neglecting basic things, rest, good food, moving our bodies. He doesn't mince words. He calls it a form of self-destruction. It undermines everything else, including any service you want to offer.
So it's about listening to your body.
Yes. Treating it like a trusted companion, not just a machine you push until it breaks. Really tuning in.
And what about the mind and emotions if the body's the vessel?
Then the mind and heart are the compass guiding you. So emotional and mental well-being means, first, acknowledging your feelings, not bottling them up or pretending they aren't there.
Which is hard sometimes.
Very hard. It also involves cultivating resilience, that ability to bounce back when things get tough, and crucially, setting healthy boundaries.
Ah, boundaries. Always a tricky one.
He calls them fences of wisdom, which I love. Not walls to shut people out, but wise fences to protect your well-being.
That's a great image.
And the book is also very clear. Seeking professional help for mental health isn't weakness. It's an act of courage, a profound commitment to your own wholeness.
It really makes you see how interconnected it all is. Caring for your physical and mental health directly impacts your energy, your clarity, your ability to actually show up in the world.
Completely. One affects the other.
So we've covered a lot of this internal landscape: the healing, the confidence building, discipline, spirituality, the holistic care. How does all this inner work actually show up on the outside?
That's the crucial connection, isn't it?
Onunga explores self-love and relationships, and then self-love is a catalyst for leadership and impact. What does this look like in the real world?
Well, fundamentally, it's about bringing your whole healthy self into your interactions. In relationships, Onunga argues that your level of self-love sets the standard for how others treat you.
Interesting.
When you genuinely honor yourself, you naturally establish healthier boundaries, and you foster connections built on mutual respect, not neediness or depletion. You bring, as he says, fullness into your relationships rather than emptiness.
There's that empty vessel idea again.
Exactly. It comes back again and again.
Yeah.
You can't give what you don't have. If you're running on empty, your relationships will feel that strain.
And what about leadership and making an impact?
He draws a clear contrast. Leaders operating without a solid foundation of self-love. They often lead from insecurity. Maybe they need constant validation, or they become overly controlling.
We've probably all seen that.
Right. But leaders who are grounded in self-love, they lead differently, with more clarity, confidence, and compassion. Their goal shifts towards empowering others, not just holding on to power themselves.
So the inner wholeness fuels the outer impact.
Precisely. It leads to more sustainable influence, more authentic connection. Yeah. And Onunga wraps this up beautifully, talking about creating a legacy of love and service.
Legacy.
Yeah, the idea is that self-love isn't the final destination. It's the source, the wellspring. It's meant to overflow into the world, into the lives you touch. The wholeness you cultivate inside you becomes like a seed planted in countless other lives.
Wow. It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? How might developing a deeper, more authentic sense of self-love change how you show up in a specific relationship or in a role where you have influence?
It shifts everything, showing up as your whole self, not just trying to meet expectations.
What an incredible journey through Reuben Juma Onunga's message. We've really seen that self-love is, well, it's not a fluffy trend.
Not at all. It's this quiet, courageous decision day by day to honor yourself.
To do the work of healing, to build that inner confidence, to practice discipline as a form of deep care.
To nurture your body and mind, and maybe connect with that spiritual core, whatever that means for you.
And the key takeaway is that this isn't just for you. It's actually the essential first step to being a more effective leader, a more compassionate friend, a more present family member.
As the book keeps reminding us, you cannot light up the path for others if your own fire has gone out.
You cannot build communities if the foundation of your own life is cracking. Self-love makes your contribution sustainable, makes it joyful, makes it real.
Makes it authentic.
So here's something to leave you with, something to ponder. What is one small, deliberate act of self-love, something we've talked about today that you will commit to this week?
Just one small thing. Could be setting that boundary you've been putting off.
Or maybe finally forgiving yourself for a past mistake that still pops into your head.
Or just prioritizing rest, seeing it not as lazy, but as totally essential.
Or maybe just catching that inner critic and consciously countering it with a simple truth about your own worth.
Remember, the world isn't asking for your perfection. It's waiting for your wholeness. Because it's in that wholeness, that grounded self-love, where your greatest potential for real love and lasting impact truly lies.